Imagine this. You step outside in the middle of the night, expecting calm, quiet darkness. But instead, the sky is alive. Streaks of light cut through the black, hundreds, no thousands of burning trails falling toward the earth. Some people gasp, some scream, others drop to their knees thinking the world is ending. And the strange thing? This wasn't one town or one country. People all over the young United States saw it, and for decades, no one could quite agree on what it really meant.
It happened in 1833, long before most people had ever heard the word meteor. Back then, the night sky was more than just a view. It was a clock, a calendar, and sometimes a warning. And on that November night, it looked like the heavens themselves were breaking apart. The papers called it the night the stars fell. And if you believe the stories, it changed the way Americans thought about the sky and their place under it.
But here's the thing. When you look past the drama and the fear, you find something fascinating. This night wasn't just a freak accident of nature. It was part of a bigger story, one that connects science, religion, and even politics. And it all started with a shower of fire from the heavens.
By the time the sun rose that morning, word had already traveled far beyond the small towns. Riders on horseback carried breathless stories. The stars have fallen. In some places, preachers called emergency sermons, warning that the day of judgment had begun. In others, taverns filled with wild theories, everything from a volcano erupting in some distant land to God sending a fiery message. The thing is, back in 1833, news didn't travel by radio or television. It traveled by people. And every storyteller added a little more fire to the tale. By the time it reached New Orleans, the sky supposedly rained fire for hours. Up in New York, the story was that you could read a newspaper outside at midnight from the glow alone. But while the panic was loud, there was also wonder. Farmers who'd never seen beyond their fields felt for the first time like they were standing under the same sky as kings and explorers. Kids lay in the grass, counting streaks until they lost track. It was terrifying, but it was also beautiful.
Now, here's where the story gets interesting. You'd think scientists would have been ready to explain it, but in 1833, astronomy was still a young science in America. There were no space agencies, no big observatories in every state, just a handful of passionate stargazers with telescopes the size of cannons. One of those stargazers, Denison Olmsted, became obsessed. He collected reports from as far south as Jamaica and as far north as Canada. He realized something nobody else had. The meteors all seemed to come from the same part of the sky, near the constellation Leo. That meant they weren't random at all. They were part of a meteor shower, and a predictable one.
Olmsted's work didn't just explain what happened, it changed the way people looked at the sky. Suddenly, the heavens weren't just mysterious, they could be studied, measured, even predicted. And that was a big deal for a country just beginning to invest in science.
But the night the stars fell didn't just live in the pages of science journals. It burned itself into American culture. Artists painted it, writers described it, and preachers kept using it in sermons for decades. It even made its way into politics. Some abolitionists claimed the falling stars were a sign from God that slavery's days were numbered. For many in the black community, especially those who had escaped slavery, it was a night they would never forget.
Harriet Tubman is said to have remembered the night vividly, using it as a way to mark time when telling her own life story. In a world without birth certificates or modern calendars, an event like this became a marker, like a page in history everyone could point to. Today, we know exactly what those people saw. It was the Leonid meteor shower, a regular event that happens every November when Earth passes through the dusty trail of a comet called Tempel-Tuttle. But in 1833, the shower was unusually intense. Scientists estimate up to 100,000 meteors per hour. No wonder it felt like the end of the world.
And here's the part I love. For one night, everyone, rich or poor, farmer or scholar, looked up at the same sky and felt the same mix of fear and wonder. They didn't have all the answers yet, but they shared the question, and that might be the most human thing of all.
So the next time you see a shooting star, remember the night the sky wouldn't stop falling. And if you think stories like this deserve to be remembered, stick around, because in our next episode, we'll uncover a disaster that started with a single, unstoppable spark.